morning, Miss Bridgewater.
Darn.
Okay, hold on. How you doing?
Oh, good. It's good to see you.
Here.
Happy New Year to you.
Yes, to you too, my dear. How's it going?
It's going. It's going. Look, the same old stuff every day. It's going.
Amen. That's why we got to that knot and hold on to God's unchanging hand.
That never changes, okay? So grab hold and don't let go.
So wonderful to see you.
Good seeing you too. Happy New Year.
Is it Judge Morrow?
It is, yes. It is.
Awesome. If you ever see him in person, tell him Milton said.
Look, my pleasure. Yes. Take care. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Hi, Miss Bridgewater. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good. How about you?
Doing well. Good to see you.
Good seeing you too.
Do you have the SAP reset date for us?
Yes, it's going to be January the 31st.
Okay. And let's see, it's 2:00, so as soon as courtroom 2 is ready, I guess we can get started. Thank you all.
Courtroom 2 is ready, sir.
Okay, who do we have?
Position number 7, Pierre.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Pierre, you've been charged in case 23 CR 000305E with hindering a person making an emergency telephone call. Is there a history, Mr. Howard? Afternoon.
Hey, second arrest, battery DV 2019 out of Florida. Charges were dropped. That's it.
All right. Let's see who's presenting for the state.
I'll present for the state, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Taylor. You can proceed.
Your Honor, the facts of the case were that the defendant and the victim were staying in a hotel together, that being the Sonesta Suites in Alpharetta. The defendant attempted to leave the hotel with the victim's car keys. She stated that she was going to call 911, and in response to this, the defendant attempted to grab the victim's phone. The victim was able to pick up the phone after she dropped it, but the defendant snatched it from her while she was still on the line with 911. The defendant was located nearby the hotel with 3 cell phones on his person. We would be asking for a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. no further contact with the victim, Zykeria Smith. That's Zykeria Smith is common spelling. And to stay away from 1325 North Point Drive in Alpharetta, Georgia. That's the Sonesta Suites.
Okay, I'm gonna, instead of sending it to the pretrial, it's gonna be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail with the other conditions, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Pierre, good luck to you, sir.
Position 8, Price.
Good afternoon, Mr. Price. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Price, you've been charged in case 23 CR 000302A with one misdemeanor offense. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
This is 7 adult arrests. Last arrest was back in November in Cobb County. Ag assault, armed robbery, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission, unlawful for a person to participate in criminal street gang activity. September 2021, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission. 2021, August, battery. March 2021, felony theft by taking. June 2020, affray. Another 2020 arrest for obstruction, possession of a firearm by convicted felon or felony first offender. 2 counts of felony theft by receiving, 1 count fleeing an officer. The theft and the possession was dismissed. The GCIC don't have the other ones on there. And he got a hold out of, it's like Jonesboro, FTA warrant. That's it.
Which of those arrests or convictions do you have, Mr. Howard?
No. I mean, whichever ones I gave you. If they got a conviction, I'll tell you. Otherwise, it just shows as an arrest.
Okay, well,
But I'm not sure the dispositions on those other charges that went with that theft or that possession by a convicted felon, because they don't have it on the GCIC out of Clayton County.
okay. Mr. Taylor?
Yes, Your Honor. Attorney Bianca Thomas with the Fulton County Public Defender's Office was seeing clients at the Fulton County Jail. After she spoke with her first client, the defendant came to her booth and began staring at her and inappropriately fondling himself. The attorney noticed that he was doing that and was shocked. She left the booth and went to another one nearby. The defendant followed her to that booth and she told them that she was going to go tell an officer, to which he replied, "I don't care what you say." The defendant was later identified as Davon Price. The defendant is currently in jail in Fulton County for aggravated assault and possession of a firearm during commission of certain felonies. He has a $45,000 bond on those charges. We did reach out to Public Defender Bianca Thomas, and she did say that she was really upset with what happened and she wanted to be here today. She plans on logging in later, but she couldn't get here exactly at 2. Because of him committing this crime while in jail and his, numerous open serious cases, we would be asking for a $10,000 surety bond and no contact with Bianca Thomas. That's BIONCA Thomas, THOMAS.
Okay, and I see that Ms. Thomas is present this afternoon. I will give her the opportunity to address the court if she chooses to do so. Who's representing Mr. Price?
Your Honor, this is actually a conflict case, and we do not have a conflict attorney today.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Kim. I knew that we didn't have a conflict. If you all will let me know when there's a conflict before I get started, I'd appreciate that in the future. Mr. Price, Thank you, Ms. Kim. Mr. Price, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present to represent you in this matter. What I am going to do, given that you're in custody on bond that you apparently are not able to make, I'm going to reset this case until tomorrow to give you the opportunity to have a lawyer present to represent you. We do not have a conflict attorney present today. But hopefully we can get one present tomorrow and they will be able to move your case forward at that time. So let's reset Mr. Price's case for the SEA calendar on 1/18 to give him the opportunity to have counsel present.
Okay,
All right, and Ms. Thomas, like I said, I see you there. If you want to, if you want to address the court tomorrow, when we can get Mr. Price, an attorney, we'll get you the link so that you can come back at that time, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
It's all right. Good to hear you, Ms. Thomas. Haven't seen you in a while.
I know. All right. Thank you.
Okay, have a good day. All right, Mr. Price, we'll see you back tomorrow.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is courtroom 3. And before you is position number 1, Miss Coleman, Frances Coleman.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Coleman. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Coleman, you've been charged in case 23 CR 000300J with battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
No.
First arrest is my understanding. Okay, Mr. Taylor.
Yes, Your Honor, this was a dual arrest case with position number 2, Miriam Coleman, who I think has now been released. The defendant is the victim's niece, and the victim being Miriam Coleman. Verbal altercation took place at the victim's home, and the defendant was asked to leave. The victim began guiding the defendant to the front door to walk her out of the house. At that point, the defendant then turned around and punched the victim in the mouth, causing a busted lip. A struggle ensued, and the victim ended up with scratches on her neck. The victim admits to initially putting her hand on the defendant's back to guide her out of the home, but states that she did not assault her. The defendant had a swollen finger due to the victim allegedly biting her and stated that the victim also placed her in a headlock. We would be asking for a $3,000 surety bond, no contact with the victim, Miriam Coleman, that's M-I-R-I-A-M, Coleman is common spelling, and to stay away from 1651 Bird Street Southeast, Atlanta, Georgia, which is the victim's home.
Was Ms. Coleman, do you know if Ms. Coleman was released because she made bond, or was she released because the charges were dropped?
I believe she made bond. We did not drop the charges.
Okay. Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Gant.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ms. Frances Coleman is 22 years old. She has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area her entire life. She does have family in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Ms. Coleman is currently enrolled at Savannah State. She is studying history. She has a GPA of 3.5. And once she graduates, Your Honor, she plans to teach elementary school students. She is currently employed at Amazon as a delivery driver. She has been in that position since 2022. She strongly denies the allegations, Your Honor. My client states that she was defending herself. She states that Ms. Coleman, the complaining witness and cross-defendant, actually pushed her, and she states that she was more so just pushing her arm back to get Ms. Coleman off of her. She denies scratching her around the neck. She states that Ms. Coleman actually bit her finger and that she was trying to take steps to release her finger. My client has never been arrested. She does not have anyone to help her with bond, Your Honor. We are requesting a signature bond. My client does not wish to have any contact with Ms. Coleman. Therefore, we are unopposed to the no contact and stay aways, and we are not requesting a one-time law enforcement escort, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, because this is her first arrest, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge. 1 day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Coleman, stay away from the Bird Street address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Okay. Good luck to you, Ms. Coleman.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Position 11, Singfield.
Good afternoon, Mr. Singfield. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Singfield, you've been charged in case 23 CR 000309B with battery, family violence, and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
His third arrest. Last arrest was February 2022 out of Hall County. 2 counts of obstruction. He pled NOLO. To that in November, he's on probation for that. And a 2017 shoplifting arrest. That's it.
Good afternoon, Mr. Abdullah.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. If the state could just address the facts very briefly. January 16th, officers were dispatched to 1921 Westmoreland Circle in regards to domestic dispute. Upon arrival, they immediately noticed the defendant's white BMW blocking the victim, Miss Melody Collins' car. The dispute between the two were still ongoing, and police were able to separate the two. After speaking with both parties and a third-party witness, police were able to ascertain that the defendant was, in fact, the aggressor. The altercation started because the defendant pulled their 4-year-old daughter out the backseat of the car. And when the mother objected, the mother who's the victim objected, the defendant slammed the mother down while still holding the 4-year-old child. He slammed her down several times, and the victim suffered injuries to her left knee. At this time, the state is requesting a $4,000 surety bond. That's $3,000 surety bond for count 1, battery, family violence, and a $1,000 surety bond for count 2, cruelty to children. No further contact with the victim or minor child, and a stay away from 921 Westmoreland Circle, as well as no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond.
Hey, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Sinfield is 34 years old, and he has been hearing for all his life. They used to live together until the beginning of December, and they are separated right now. So they no longer reside together. And so there's no need for a stay away. And my client has no objection to no further contact with Melody Collins. Only thing that he wants to make sure is that he gets third-party transfer for his child. He wants to visit his child. And he's been here in Georgia. He has been working as a mechanic at Howard and Son Automotive, and he's gainfully employed. So he's not going to be qualified for public defender's services ever after this bond hearing. We would like to request for signature on bond for these charges. Thank you.
All right, so for the battery, it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. For the cruelty, a $1,000 signature bond through the jail, making for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Ms. Collins. Stay away from the Moreland Circle address. There'll be third-party transfer of the minor child, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. Singfield, although I'm going to let you sign your own bond, let me explain to you what no contact means. No contact means no contact with Ms. Collins whatsoever. No personal contact, obviously. No phone contact, no internet contact, no social media contact, no contact whatsoever. I'm not gonna keep you from seeing your child, but for visitation, you're gonna have to go through a third party to arrange for visitation with your child. Am I clear?
Sir.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Singfield. Who do we have next?
Position number 9, Ms. Rosier.
Good afternoon, Ms. Rosier. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Thank you. Ms. Rozier, you've been charged in case 23 CR 0000311G with obscured or missing license plate, theft by receiving stolen property, acquiring a license plate for the purpose of concealing the identification of a motor vehicle, driving while your license was suspended or revoked, and knowingly driving a motor vehicle on a suspended, canceled, or revoked registration, and expired or no license plates or decal. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
6 total. Last arrest was in October, suspended license. September, theft by receiving, suspended license. 2020, suspended, cancel registration. 2018, suspended or cancel registration. And 2012, criminal damage to property, second degree dismissed. That's it.
Mr. Abdullah?
Yes, Your Honor. 1 second. Yeah, so on January 16th, officers conducted a traffic stop on the defendant's vehicle, a gray Nissan Sentra, for an obstructed license plate in the back window. The defendant told officers she did not have her license, but provided a picture of it. The license returned suspended and the tag returned stolen from Emory Police Department. The defendant admitted to officers she failed to register the car, having had it for 3 months. And she told officers she got the tag from a friend. The tag belonged to a silver BMW. The defendant has a 6-cycle arrest record, as you heard, including 2 arrests for driving without a license in the past year and 2 arrests for driving on suspended registration. She also has a prior theft by receiving in 2022. At this time, the state is asking for a $500 pretrial. I'm sorry, at this time, the state is asking for a $4,500 split bond. That's a $500 pretrial or signature bond for counts 1, 3, and 6, and a $1,000 surety bond for counts 2, 4, and 5.
Okay, 2, 4, and 5, you're asking for $1,000.
Surety bond. That's for the theft by
Surety.
taking. That's for the theft by receiving, driving while license is suspended, and the knowingly driving on suspended registration.
Okay, and what are you asking for the other 3 charges?
For the other 3, for the obscured missing license plate, $500 signature bond through pretrial. For acquiring license plate for the purpose of concealing identity, $500 signature through pretrial. And for expired tags, $500 signature through pretrial.
Okay.
And if I could also make it be known, the state has submitted documents or a notice of dismissal as to the original count 4 and 5, which was attempting to misrepresent tag and failure to have license on person. I just wanted to make that be known to the court staff.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Rozier is 47 years old. He was born in Kentucky and she moved to Georgia about 3 years ago. She's working at staffing for company as a room attendant. Her education is high school diploma, and she has 2 dependents. One is an adult, 20 years old, but the other one is only 9 years old, and she does not get any child support for 9 years old, and her income is not that high for room attendants. We would like to request for signature bonds for all of them because she's the only one she does not have anybody who can actually bail her out. So it would be great for her to get a signature bond and go back home to take care of 9-year-old child. Thank you.
Position 10, Shaw.
Hold on, we're not done with this.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I apologize.
I'm thinking, so.
Sorry about that, Judge.
You're fine. Okay, so these are all gonna be good bonds. obscured or missing license plate, $250. Theft by receiving, a $500 good bond. Number 3, acquiring a license plate for purpose of concealing it, $250 good bond. Driving while license suspended, a $500 good bond. Suspended or cancel or revoke registration, $250 good bond. And expired license plate, $250 good bond. So that should be all together a $2,000 good bond. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond, and no driving unless she has a valid license, of course. Okay,
Okay.
good luck to you, Miss Rosier. Okay, let's see, now we can go on to courtroom two.
All right, Judge. Position
Okay.
10, Mr. Shaw.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Shaw. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Shaw, you've been charged in case 23 CR 0000310C with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
13 total.
Okay.
He has one cycle out of Texas, 2013 money laundering, evading arrest, possession of marijuana. The marijuana was a conviction. The evading, it says prosecutor reject the charge along with the money laundering. All right. Last arrest in Georgia, 2020, Clayton County, possession of a Schedule 1 controlled substance. Sale of marijuana that appears to be open. He had a battery DV, hindering person from making emergency call. 2016 out of Rockdale, that was dismissed. 2016 obstruction dismissed. A 2013 obstruction conviction. 2010 arrest for obtaining, procure, giving inmate prohibited item without authorization. That's a conviction. He got sale of cocaine conviction, possession of meth with intent, sale of marijuana, possession of a knife or a firearm. During the commission, that was from 07. That's it.
Okay, Mr. Abdullah.
Yes, the defendant, on September 3rd, 2022, the defendant struck the victim, looks like Shelly Shropshire, in the face with a closed fist and drug her across the pavement. The victim suffered cuts to her forehead, lip, and elbow, as well as abrasions to her body. As you heard, the defendant has a 13-cycle multi-state arrest record, including 2 battery charges and a conviction for possession of a firearm. Due to the defendant's extensive criminal history, as well as the tendency to violence that he showed, the state is concerned that he may intimidate the witness or have undue influence over her. For that reason, we're requesting a $5,000 surety bond. No further contact with Shelly Shropshire, that's Chelle, last name Shropshire, Shopshire. Stay away from 1819 Delay Drive, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond.
Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Shaw is 39 years old, and he has no objection to stay away or no further contact with Chelle Shropshire. They have been good friends for about 10 years, but they don't have relationships. So actually, it's not even family violence. They don't live together. They do not have a child together. He has another girlfriend, and that kind of caused her to be very jealous and angry. And my client says he can prove that he was not even around Miss Chelle Shropshire on September 3, 2022. And my client denies the allegation, and he is gainfully employed for the last 9 years. He's been successfully operating Shaw and Sons tailored cleaning services, and he has GED, and we would like to request for signature on bond. Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, just to perfect the record, the warrant shows that on the date of September 3rd, 2022, the defendant and the victim were living together.
Okay, thank you. It's going to be a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Ms. Shropshire. Stay away from the incident location. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank you.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Shaw.
Position 6, Mays.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mays. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mays, you've been charged in case 23 CR 0003003Y with following too closely, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and driving under the influence of drugs less safe. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
It's his second arrest. 2011 suspended license out of Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay, Mr. Taylor.
Yes, Your Honor. And just to go over his driver's history, since it is a DUI, in 2022, he had a speeding going 91 and a 70. 2022, a 92 and a 70. He had an improper lane change in 2020. He had a speeding 92 and a 70 in 2018 and a failure to obey stop sign in 2018. The facts of the case were that while traveling on Georgia northbound, Georgia 400 northbound, Officer Christensen with the Roswell PD noticed a vehicle traveling very closely behind him. They were traveling about the speed of 65 miles per hour. The officer initiated a traffic stop for following too closely. When the officer made contact with the defendant, he noticed that the defendant's actions were slurred, his eyelids were droopy, and he had body tremors in his hands and eyelids, and he had an issue with his short-term memory. He also admitted to smoking marijuana 15 minutes earlier. After that, he was shortly arrested for DUI, drugs less safe. He was charged with DUI, drugs less safe, possession of marijuana, and following too closely. The state would be asking for a $4,000 bond, $3,000 for the DUI, $500 for the marijuana, $500 for following too closely, and that would be a surety bond. He's not to have any alcohol, drugs, or weapon while on bond, and he is not to drive without a DDS permit.
Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. George Mays is 33 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 10 years. He does not have family in the Atlanta, Georgia area, nor does he have a resource to assist him with making bond. Mr. Mays completed high school. He also earned a bachelor's degree in supply chain management. He is currently unemployed at this time. He has been unemployed since December. He is in the process of applying to nursing school, and his last line of employment was as a certified nursing assistant. Your Honor, my client strongly denies the allegations. He's presumed innocent, and this is a first in lifetime DUI accusation. I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Mays' behalf, and if Your Honor determines that he's ineligible, then I would ask for a more reasonable bond, no more than $1,000 for the DUI and $250 for the remainings. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, it'll be $1,000 for the DUI, good bond, and $250 for the other two, making it a total of a $1,500 good bond. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Mays.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Welcome.
Position 5, Mason.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mason. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Mason, you've been charged in case 23 CR 0000290Y with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
It's his fourth arrest. Last was 2018, failure to appear out of Gwinnett. Before that was 2016 trespass, burglary in the first degree. He got first offender for that. And 2008 suspended license conviction.
All right, Mr. Taylor?
Yes, Your Honor, the victim, Dwayne Wakefield, was sleeping in his bedroom when he awoke to the defendant banging on its door. The defendant began yelling at the victim, telling him that he wasn't supposed to be there, despite him having a permanent room in the home. During the argument, the defendant picked up a aluminum pole and told the victim that if he didn't get away, he was going to hit him. The victim did not move, and the defendant struck him in the head. The fight continued on the ground, where the defendant had the victim in a bear hug, which is how they were found when the police arrived. The responding officer stated that he has reported to this location multiple times before in reference to the defendant being aggressive, and has always determined Mr. Mason to be the aggressor. He was also determined to be the predominant aggressor in this case. The state would be asking for a $6,000 surety bond, no contact with the victim, Dwayne Wakefield, and to stay away from the location 1315 Eason Street Northwest. That's EASON Street Northwest, and to take one anger management class.
Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Reynold Mason is 73 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area since 2004. He does not have family here. He is the proud father of 6 children, Your Honor. However, none of them children are minors. Mr. Mason earned a Juris Doctorate. He is retired and has been so since 2004. He is also a veteran of the Army. He served 2 years and he was honorably discharged. Mr. Mason strongly denies the allegations, Your Honor. He states that he was actually assigned, or the Veterans Administration actually assigned him or found this housing for him after he was released from the hospital back in May of 2022. He states that Mr. Wakefield, the complaining witness, had been terrorizing him while he was there, interfering with his property, making threats toward him. And on the day in question, Your Honor, my client states that Mr. Wakefield actually came upon him, and he states that he was in his face, he was physical, he made physical contact with him, he more so did a chest bump, and my client was asking him to move away from him. He refused, he felt threatened, and he was merely defending himself. And further, Your Honor, the warrant that I read states that it is actually Mr. Wakefield who pinned Mr. Mason down, and that is my client's contention as well, Your Honor. Regarding his history, Your Honor, I did not hear about any convictions for violence, Your Honor. I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Mason's behalf. He does not want to return to that residence. He does have an alternate, well, he will be able to secure a second residence, Your Honor. Therefore, we are unopposed to the no contact and stay away orders. However, we are requesting a one-time law enforcement escort so that Mr. Mason may retrieve his belongings, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, it's going to be a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Mr. Wakefield. Stay away from the Eason Street address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right, I'm going to let you out, Mr. Mason, but you're going to have to make sure that you come back for your next hearing in this matter, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you,
Thank you,
Mr. Mason.
Thank you very much.
welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Position 4, Landy.
Good afternoon, Mr. Landy. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Landy, you've been charged in case 23 CR 000308J with theft by taking. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
We got 4 total. We got a 2010 out of Connecticut. It's for robbery. That was a conviction. Last Georgia arrest was 2019, suspended license. 2018, suspended license. That's it. And one of them might be open.
Abdullah?
Your Honor, the victim was shopping at an Aldi's shopping store or grocery store when she mistakenly left her phone at the register. She paid for her items left, and as soon as she noticed her phone, she forgot her phone. She went back into the store. Before she could retrieve the phone, the defendant took the phone and stuffed it in his pants. He also paid for his items and left the store. The victim was able to trace the phone to a 11745 Bentham Court. Police went out to the address where they met with the defendant. The defendant denied having the phone or knowing anything about the phone. Police went back to the store and were able to gather video surveillance in which they identified the defendant. After confronting the defendant with the surveillance, he admitted to taking the phone he admitted to taking the phone. The defendant does have a 4-cycle multi-state arrest record, including the robbery conviction from 2010. For this reason, we're asking for a $2,500 pretrial, a signature bond through pretrial, no further contact with Aubrey Lumpkin, a stay away from 10955 Jones Bridge Road, which is the Aldi grocery store, and no drugs, weapon, or alcohol while on probation.
All right, instead of it going through pretrial, it's going to go through the jail with all the other conditions. Any objection to any of that, Ms. Kim?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, good luck to you, Mr. Landy.
Give me that bond amount again.
$2,500 signature bond through the jail.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Position 3, Calabata.
Good afternoon, Mr. Calabata. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You have been charged in case 23 CR 000307F with possession of an open alcohol container, driving under the influence of alcohol with a concentration of 0.08 grams or more, and driving under the influence of alcohol less safe. I've been told by pretrial that this is Mr. Calabata's first arrest. Mr. Abdullah.
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor. The facts show that the defendant was lost and driving on Bent Grass Drive without headlights when he was pulled over by officers. When the officers approached his vehicle, they noticed a strong odor of alcohol. The defendant also had slurred speech, bloodshot, watery eyes, and responded to questioning slowly. The defendant was unable to follow the officer's directions and complete the field sobriety task. The defendant had a blood alcohol level of 0.324. And the officers also recovered a bottle of Smirnoff from the defendant's vehicle. At this time, the state is asking for a $5,000 surety bond. That's $3,000 on the DUI per se, $1,000 on the DUI less safe, and $1,000 on the open container. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond, and no driving.
Ms. Camp.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Clement Calabata is 49 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 6 years. He is married, has been so for 5 years, and he is the proud father of 2 children, ages 18 and 24. Mr. Calabata completed high school. He is currently employed as a caregiver. He has been in that line of work for about 12 years. He strongly denies the allegations, Your Honor. He is presumed innocent, and of course, we would ask that you not consider the state's recitation of the BAC, as the state cannot and has not laid a proper foundation for that. Given that this is Mr. Calabata's first arrest, Your Honor, I am requesting a signature bond on his behalf. And if Your Honor determines that he's ineligible, then I would ask for a split bond, a bond of $1,000 for the DUI per se and signatures for the remaining, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, for the open container, it's going to be a $250 good bond. For the other 2 DUIs, they're both going to be $500 good bonds, making it a total of a $1,250 good bond. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
What's the total amount, Judge?
$1,250.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your Honor,
Yes,
this concludes my business. May I be excused?
yes. Have a good afternoon, Ms. Gann. Good to see you as always.
We
Thank
done, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
I have a quick announcement, Judge, for position
Oh.
2. They bonded out.
Okay, thank you.
I believe that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, good
Yeah,
deal.
that's
Thank
it,
you
Judge.
all.
Okay, thank you.
2:41.
I
Thanks.
know, right?
Have a good one. Be safe.
Have a
Bye.
good
I
afternoon.
love
You
these
too.
calendars. I love them.
Y'all have a good one. See y'all
No,
tomorrow.
you're the best, Judge Morrow.
Okay. We'll go over the calendar with Ms. Bridgewater when she's ready.
Okay. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is going to be January the 31st. Position number 1 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position number 2 is reset further notice as the defendant was released. Position 3 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $1,250 good bond. Position 4 is reset further notice with a $2,500 SOB through the jail. Position 5 is reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through the jail. Position 6 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $1,500 good bond. Position 7 reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 8 is being reset till tomorrow. Position 9 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. Position 10 reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through the jail. And position 11 reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through the jail. Are there any questions, comments, or corrections?
I'm good.
Everyone have an awesome day.
You also, Ms. Bridgewater.
All right then.
All right, see y'all next time. Thank you.
Thank you. See you later.
Okay.